next 2 weeks are going to be different triangles. First week we'll do triangles from guard. A couple of things with a triangle that people often miss is how to actually get the neck nice and tight in the knee pit. So I'm just going to do a quick demo. So if this is somebody's neck and I just pinch it right here, no matter how hard I squeeze, I'm not going to get very much squeeze. If I try to shove it in like this, it's also not going to get any tighter. So I'm going to have to open, push the neck in, and then squeeze down. So that's going to be an idea that we use quite a lot in triangle. And then the other key concept is going to be that we don't want their back in the triangle. We're going to be trying to get our shin parallel to their shoulders so that we're just isolating the neck in our triangles. All right, so I have someone in my guard and I'm trying to kind of move them around. The first entry we're going to look at for triangle is called the push-pull. A lot of people think it's not very realistic because someone's not just going to stand here and let me push and pull. But if he's trying to pass my guard and get out of my guard and he's moving around, a lot of times I can catch a quick push-pull. But for the purposes of our practice, our partner is not going to move around initially. So basically what I need to do is I'm going to pull him in a little bit to get his head more accessible. I'm going to just push this hand down and I'm picking my hips up and clamping on. And then the idea that we talked about before with the back of the knee touching the neck before I bend, if I can do that right away, then it's going to be tighter a lot faster. And then this hand, as I was raising my hips, I'm already pushing it across. And then I'm going to grab my own shin and then turn, and then trying to get those shoulders parallel to, well, my shin parallel to the shoulders, and I can do that by turning and looking in his ear hole, holding his head, sorry Gary.
Okay.
And then I can bring this up, and then that way. That last bit was the fishtail, and I can exaggerate it a little bit more. You see this like really giant opening. As I'm crunching and pulling this heel to the side, that opening gets really small. Again, on that push-pull, I have a nice tight grip, and my legs are helping on this. I'm pulling him down a little bit to get him closer, lifting my hips up. I have this hand pulled out, and then I'm going to bring it across as I grab my shin, rotate, and fishtail. Next one is going to be the spider guard one, which if I have a gi, it can be a little bit stronger, but I still do this even in no gi, because again, we're moving about, and I have this wrist control for a moment, and then I can just put my foot in the bicep, kind of raise it up a little bit, and I'm using his arm as a step ladder to bring my knee past his head, and then I can rotate, and this leg here is pinching and rotating around and coming in. And if I find I can't do that other finish, maybe he's like kind of trying to not let me turn my angle, I can wiggle, take this foot, put it on the hip, and actually shoulder walk away from him. And that also tightens this triangle. So, one more time. I managed to get the wrists in some way, we're moving, whatever. I can get my foot in this bicep. I raise it up, and a lot of times they'll try to fight it down, and in that moment I just follow up, and I really need to raise my hips nice and high. Stick my foot straight out, clamp down. If he has really good posture, I might not be able to get the initial triangle right away. I can clamp and do a crunch. So I'm really like pulling his body down using all of my core. I can use my hands to help even if they're really strong, and then once I feel like I have his posture broken, I can pick either one of those finishes. Either I turn my angle or I shoulder walk back. Super quick bonus move. So no matter what my triangle entry was, a lot of times they have this nice elbow here, and I have a hard time passing across. And they have, either too big of shoulders or too strong of shoulders that I'm not really getting my triangle where I want it to be. So sometimes I can pick my hip up and just trap the elbow just a little bit. Now, sometimes they'll even put their hand right here for you, which makes it even easier. But even if they don't, I can kind of start to collect it. What I'm doing is I'm getting a nice squeeze here, but I'm actually blocking the shoulder more so than the neck now, because I wasn't able to get my good triangle angle. And I can just squeeze in with this knee and push with this hand and get that shoulder lock. It's actually a super common one if you can't quite lock the triangle all the way up. Just squeeze that shoulder and turn that arm. So one more time. I've gotten to here, but I can't get my shoulder around his shoulders, so I can squeeze this across, and I can even use this hand as a brace on the elbow. Again, pinch with my belly to keep his elbow in place, and then if they're super strong, I can hug their hand with my both arms, and then just turn that way. All right, last one. A few weeks ago, we were doing this in our guard breaks, but I really like that entry. It's actually one of Jerry's entries. So we're gonna come in, he's like getting really good posture, so I can't do my other two because I can't get that wrist control. So I'm gonna lift my hips up, and then I can take my hands this way, and I'm gonna basically shoot them in the gap that I create when I drop my hips. And I'm gonna pull them in at the same time. Now, I can come around and collect the head. A lot of times, I end up kind of struggling around a little bit here to get in a good position. And so I might have to wiggle to get my hips out a little bit more. But they're fighting me too. If I'm holding his head down, a lot of times he's trying to push up. And in that moment that he pushes up, I follow with this knee. I press on the shoulder. And I'm going to whip this leg around and then get my same triangle finish. On this one, this arm is currently on the wrong side. Sometimes you can still finish it here if you get it nice and tight, but if you lift your hips up, that picks the arm up, and I can shove it across, sorry. And then a good thing to do if they're really trying to bring this arm back is the moment that I get it across, so here I've dropped, I crunch up. Now my belly is preventing this hand from coming back, and I can actually hug my whole body around his head, and I start to turn my angle and finish the choke. That's good. Last time. So I can't get wrist control because he has his good guard defense. So I'm going to raise my hips up, pull them down, come to the side. I'm using this knee right here to push his shoulder. And then as I rotate around, I can come back to that nice triangle position. And actually, yeah, and then bring this up, across, and finish.